Hello everybody, I'm going to present here the first version of the lipid search Shiny tool, which searches lipid maps with the result from example the Shiny untargetted. So what you can do here is you can load the output from your search in untargeted. For example, this file here. And then search it against the database. This input file needs to contain two columns, one compound ID and one MZ, in the first sheet of the Excel file. So only the first sheet will ever be used, and it needs to contain these columns. If these are duplicated or missing, then you will see an empty table, essentially, and some message telling you that something has gone wrong. Good. So we see here that we have 2,884 entries that are partially assigned, partially not assigned. I guess the last one will contain lots of unknowns here. So they've already been assigned here with the untargeted tool, but you could just load in. So this doesn't really matter what it is. Yeah, it doesn't have to be any descriptor of it that makes any sense to humans, like these here at the beginning. And so here's the MZ, and that's what we're going to look for now in the database. So we go to search. We have to select whether our experiment was in positive or negative ion mode, and that will have an impact on what adducts we can select. So if we're positive, we can select MH, M plus H, M plus ammonia, but if we're negative, we can't do that, so we can only select some of these choice adducts here. We are here in this experiment in positive mode. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all of them, which is quite a lot. And that would really create quite a lot of possible hits. Yeah. And the only other thing that I need to really adjust here a little bit maybe is the search tolerance. 5 or 10 ppm is probably a good starting point. And then I can press search. And this is really very, very quick. Thousands of entries against the database of about 100,000 coming up like this. Very nice. And it gives you, for each compound ID, a hit in the lipid maps database. The LMID, the formula, and some name, and there's some more stuff that is off the screen here at the moment. This is the basic table. You can scroll through it. There are here now 5,000 entries, so you won't be looking at all of them straight away, I guess. You can play around with the adducts and the tolerance and search again. And then you can also always format your results in two ways. First is that you might want to see, for example, I would like to see what the delta ppm was of each of these hits. And for that, and that's somewhere the 10th column or somewhere where I can't actually see it. So I'm going to deselect all of these things here, okay, and say update. And then I still can't see it, but it's come sort of closer into view now. Yeah, so the dppm is here. So if I can bring myself to throw out even more, then I will see probably the delta ppm. Yeah, here we are. Yeah, so this would be this is the idea that you can choose the columns that you want to see. Now that's just to make things a little bit easier. The second thing that you can change is a bit more sort of fundamental, because if we map one compound ID that is that has an MZ value, it might generate multiple hits in lipid maps, and some of these hits will actually have the same formula. They're isomers, and it may or may not be make sense to look at all of these isomers here in this table. If you look at more, if you want to see all of them, then your table is going to grow. But here, what we're doing, we're looking only at the first one, which I call the representative. It's essentially the first one that comes up that has this formula. But if you would like to see all of them, you say show all, and your table gets 10 times bigger or something. And you can, so if we now sort by this compound here, you will see that for the same query, so this compound ID, and the same formula in the database, you get multiple lipid maps entries. And if we looked at now, maybe instead, if we now want to see the name, maybe that's going to show us that for the same thing, we can have many, many different entries in lipid maps, which are maybe even exactly the same thing. In this case, they're not exactly the same thing, since the fatty acids are in different, the 16 and the 18-2 are in different places, I reckon. Yes, so this is really the main thing that you can do in here. It's a fairly simple but also very fast search here that you can do. You can really do thousands of queries at the same time very quickly, format them a little bit, and then you can write them to Excel. And that will show more or less the same as this table. In the Excel file and also in this table, the LM IDs are active hyperlinks. If you click on them, which I can't demonstrate here so easily, you will your web browser window should open on the website of the lipid maps database. Enjoy.